Hey guys, it's Mackenzi Lee here to bring you more recommendations from my bookstore to your bookshelf. So it's February, it's the month of love and flowers and hearts and all of that, and for some people it's the worst time of year. Sometimes you just want to read a book where nobody smashes their face into somebody else's face. But because we all read and love YA, and YA tends to have, shall we say, a heavy romance component most of the time, it can be hard to find YA books that have either a light romance plot or no romance at all. So today I'm going to bring you some recommendations of YA books with little to no romance in honor of February, the month of love, because we hate love. My first recommendation for a YA book with little to no romance is A Madness So Discreet by Mindy McGinnis. A Madness So Discreet is set in an insane asylum in the 1800s. It's about a girl named Grace who has become pregnant out of marriage by her abusive father, and so she's been locked in this insane asylum in order to ride out the pregnancy, which was unfortunately a thing that happened in the 1800s. Another unfortunate thing that happened in the 1800s was lobotomies, but fortunately Grace is spared from a lobotomy by a mysterious doctor who comes in, rescues her from the insane asylum, and then brings her into his new world / new field of criminology. This is a great book if you like Sherlock Holmes, like the OG Sherlock Holmes, less Benedict Cumberbatch, because it's sort of getting into that like deduction and forensics and when that was first a thing in history. It's also a great book if you like books like Devil in the White City, which is about serial killers in the Chicago World's Fair. It's also great if you really like true crime genre. This is definitely like a serial killer crime mystery, and it's just spooky and feminist and really, really good. Madness So Discreet by Mindy McGinnis. My next recommendation for a book with no romance is The Last Dragonslayer by Jasper Fforde. So The Last Dragonslayer is about a girl named Jennifer Strange who works as an employment agent for magicians. In this world, magicians are kind of on the decline, I guess is the best way to say it. Magic used to be used for giant things like building bridges and erecting castles, and now it's used for like unclogging drains, but also it's cheaper to bring a plumber in than to get a magician to unclog a drain. So Jennifer is determined to find work for her sort of like ragtag gang of misfit magicians, except they're disrupted when there's a prophecy that the last dragon in the country is going to be slain on Sunday at noon, and Jennifer is going to be the one to do it. So Jennifer sets out in her tiny orange VW bug with her new assistant, who's a young child named Tiger, and also her Quark Beast, which is a creature described as a combination of a Labrador and a drawer of knives. They set out to meet the last dragon, find out about the truth behind this prophecy, and also find out about the death of magic in their land. These books are also like a really loving parody of the genre of sort of like wizards and magic. It's a series. The third book especially gets into like this really hysterical parody of like the Lord of the Rings kind of quest novels. Jasper Fforde really, really loves the genre he's writing in. He just also like really loves poking a little bit of fun at it. So if you're a fan of humor like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or if you like authors like Terry Pratchett, The Last Dragonslayer is the book for you. My next recommendation is The Girl from the Well by Rin Chupeco. This book scared the crap out of me. I like read this on a plane and started this book by sitting normally on a plane seat, and then by the end like had my feet up on the seat and my hood up pulled over me and my arms like pulled into my sweatshirt because I was so freaked out and I just wanted to cocoon into a ball of safety. This book is about a restless ghost named Okiko. Because of the way she died, she's been doomed to sort of stay in the world and avenge the deaths of children and to kill serial killers, which sounds really dark, and it is, but it's also really good. So Okiko runs into this kid named Tark. Tark is not an evil person, however she notices that he has evil spirits clinging to him because of his tattoos, and they've sort of like imprisoned these evil powers in his body. So Tark and his cousin, aided by Okiko, end up going to Japan. They engage in a lot of really creepy doll exorcisms. Warning, there are dolls and exorcisms in this book if those are things you can't deal with. But so they go basically to rid Tark of the evil forces that are conspiring against him. This book is super scary. It's a short book, which I really like, as you know, because I hate long books. It's a really compelling narrative voice. It also has no romance in it, and it is also largely set in Japan. So yay for reading books that are set outside the United States and Europe. The Girl from the Well by Rin Chupeco. My next recommendation for a book with no romance is Charm and Strange by Stephanie Kuehn. Full disclosure, I read this book a long time ago and I don't remember there being any romance, but there might be like a smidge, but it's definitely not the main point of the book, and it's definitely small and subtle enough that I completely forgot it existed. So Charm and Strange is about a boy named Andrew Winston Winters. It is told in dual narration. Half of it is sort of in his past and about the angry child he was, and now the present is set at this very elite boarding school he's at, where he's sort of calmed down, turned into himself, has a lot of like anxiety and issues. I hate that word, but like, it's kind of a spoiler to say otherwise. When we meet Wynn, it is the night of the full moon, and he is pretty sure that he is destined to have something happen to him on the night of the full moon. You know what I mean? This book is a great like psychological mystery. You never totally know what's going on. You're very involved in Wynn's head, but also maybe can't trust everything he's thinking in his head. And it's just really different. I don't feel like I've ever read a book in or outside YA that's really like this. And I didn't, if you like We Were Liars, or the kind of books where you don't know what's happening really until like the last couple pages, and then it's like, psh, this is a book for you. Charm and Strange by Stephanie Kuehn. So my last book recommendation, if you like books with no romance, is Conviction by Kelly Loy Gilbert. Guys, this book, I've read this book 3 times. I have sobbed like a child every single time I've read it, including on an airplane. This book is about a boy named Braden who has been raised by his evangelical sort of telepreacher dad. His dad has a radio show where he talks very strongly about their evangelical Christian values. Yeah. He's a pretty tough human, and this toughness from their father has led Braden's older brother Trey to abandon their family, and it's led Braden to try really hard to be the perfect son at all times, to the point that it's like pretty damaging to him. So everything changes when Braden's father is accused of a hit and run in which a police officer dies, and Braden is called to testify against him in court. So this book kind of unwraps the days leading up to the trial. It also unpacks a lot of the past between Braden and his dad, and also his brother Trey. I don't even have words for this book. It's so well written. The characters are so well developed. It nails the like psychological abusive relationships that sometimes parents have with their kids, and the way that this father is like very much manipulating Braden, but Braden is unable to see it. I feel like this was one of the best portrayals of abusive parents that I've seen in literature, let alone in YA literature. This book acknowledges that religion is really complicated, but that you can still find strength in it even as you find issues with it, or even as other people use it in a harmful way. It acknowledges that like God can give you a lot of strength, but also can give you a lot of frustration and silence. It acknowledges that family love is really complicated, and I love this book. It's so just like heartbreaking. That's my word for it. This book is heartbreaking. So if you really hate love in February, read this very heartbreaking novel. That's Conviction by Kelly Loy Gilbert. So that's it for me today. If you have more recommendations for me with books with no romance, or if you would like a specific recommendation, feel free to hit me up in the comments or find me on Twitter at the Mackenzi Lee. And don't forget to subscribe to Epic Reads on YouTube. Down with love!